Hi everyone, I'm Nigel Saunders.
And I'm Julian Saunders.
And today is Bring Your Kid to Work Day. My work day started out with us watering the trees in the plant room. Julian and I were out working this morning. We moved the large yew off the table here and put it on the ground for the winter. And I'll put a pile of mulch around it and hopefully it'll make it to spring. We moved the larch forest out on the bench today to show off the nice fall colors. And I think at this time of the year it looks its best. You've got green needles, kind of light green needles, yellowish needles, and then the darker straw colored needles. So it kind of shows all the phases of the fall colors all at once.
The needles will probably be on the tree for another couple of weeks and then they will all fall off in the winter. Let's go in now and have a look at the fall colors. So here we go.
All the leaves on my ginkgo have fallen off now. They fell off quite suddenly. I think they were all on the tree yesterday. You can see the pile of leaves at the base and all the growth that came from this year. There's 2 leaves on top still. My other larch is getting some nice fall colors on it too, and just starting to go yellow at the top here. This tree still needs a lot of development. I cut it back quite severely this year, and I eventually want to grow it longer, the branches and that, but I had to get the structure sorted out first, and I did a lot of pruning, removing some of the branches, so I think in the next couple of years it'll look quite good, hopefully. We've made sure that everything's watered inside and everything's okay on the outside benches, so now we'll head off and check up on the progress of the pickup truck. I don't drive the Matrix XRS in the winter, so it'll be coming off the road kind of mid-November. So we'll take this to go see the truck. So we're taking the Matrix XRS out, and it has a 1.8 liter 4-cylinder engine with a 6-speed transmission. And it's an unusual engine. It's a special engine they put in the XRS only, and it redlines at over 8,000 RPM, so it's a real high revving engine. And one of the nicest sounding engines for a 4-cylinder you'll ever hear, and I'll let you hear that up here when we get out of the city. We'll do an acceleration run and you can hear what it sounds like going through the gears. So that was the sound of the engine in the Toyota Matrix XRS. Fun car for a four-door kind of family wagon. I bought the car 1 year old back in 2005. It's a 2004 model, and yeah, I've never winter driven. I've tried to keep it in good shape, and it's been a great car. It's just been fantastic, fun to drive, and also very practical. So we're on our way now to go see our 72 Ford F-250 pickup truck, crew cab. Here's the old beast. One thing they found when they were taking the fuel tank out, in the rear seat here, if you come in here, behind the rear seat is the original build sheet, and it has all the specs, the options that were on this truck. So it's tucked in behind there. It's deteriorated quite a bit, but I'm hoping to get in and take a photo of it, so I'll have it on record. Here's the new fuel tank. It's not a new one. They fixed all the holes in it, and they put a epoxy tank liner on the inside of it to seal any holes. So it looks like it's all been reinstalled now. This is the float gauge, I guess, which tells you how full the tank is. It looks like that's been removed. Maybe they're trying to replace that with a different one. I don't know. But yeah, the fuel tank's back in the truck. And yeah, I don't know how much else they've done with it. They're not here today. But it looks like it's all reconnected up. And I smell gasoline, so it must be, they must have tried starting it. Let's pop the hood now and we'll see if the carburetor, the rebuilt carburetor, is in place. Got to find the G spot. Hold on. Why is that not? There we go. This is a little tough. Oh, there it is. It is in place. You can see the rebuilt carb here. It's a 2-barrel. This is a Ford 360 engine. I replaced the water pump long ago with a brand new one. That was one thing I did to this truck. Yeah, the air cleaner is not in place. There is a battery in it. It might even start up if I tried it. I won't try, but yeah, so that's the big engine compartment. I will have to get new tires for the truck. These tires aren't worn out, but they've kind of dry rotted. They've been sitting too long. They're about 25 years old now, so this is almost the largest size tire I can get on the truck, but I can step it up a little bit. I can get a little wider tire, which will make it just a little bit taller, and that should make it look pretty good. I'm going to get more of a off-road tire, because I will be using this truck in the community orchard a lot, so it'll be, you know, a little more rugged looking, the tire. There's a truck over here. It's a Dodge, and it's pretty cool. And I'm thinking Julian will need a vehicle someday as a kind of a hobby truck. And this is a really cool truck. It's from Missouri in the United States, so it's virtually rust-free. The only reason it's here is that I think there was a dash fire, and if we look at the dash in here, oh, the dash is all back in place. Oh, okay. Last time I came, the dash was all torn apart. But yeah, a really, really solid truck, and beautiful patina on it. I think it's a 1974, I think, somewhere around there. I'm not sure. I'm not really up on my Dodge trucks. But it's been lowered somewhat. I guess they come standard with some blocks under the leaf springs, and those were removed, so it sits lower than a stock truck. And it's got some really nice alloy wheels on it. And yeah, a really, really cool truck. And I was thinking, this would be a cool truck for Julian. He'd have a lot of fun playing around with all the mechanical bits of it and kind of hot rodding it up a bit. I think I believe it's an automatic. It's a 3-speed automatic. So it should be a fun truck to play around with. yeah. So maybe you'll see more of this truck in the future. Maybe not. I don't know. We'll get back in the XRS now and head home and maybe actually do some video on bonsai today. Right, Julian? Well, later in the day, it started snowing. And they're trimming trees out front, so it was pretty loud, so we didn't get to do any filming with the bonsai trees. However, I'll continue the video today. Here's a look at the bonsai area, all under snow now. So it's the next day now, and you know, that larch forest we were showing, Julian and I were showing off yesterday. Look at it today. Just covered in snow. A nice light dusting underneath the canopy of the forest. Looks really nice. Still got all its nice autumn colors on it. And then it's topped with some nice fluffy white snow. Really cool. My Arctic explorers look right at home in the snow today. Underneath the American elm tree. The Avatar Grove has a blanket of snow too. Quite heavy up top. And then down underneath the canopy it's quite sparse. It's just a light dusting down here. Wow, really looks like wintertime in there now. The greenhouse is totally empty now. Needs a bit of a cleanup in here, but so the next phase, I'll be bringing all the tender trees into the greenhouse, like my Japanese black pines, my redwood trees. What else do I have? My ginkgo. The cedars are fine, and the American elms are fine. Maybe my maple down here. My apple tree I could bring in. It's pretty hardy though, but... Oh, my Osage oranges, yeah. They're over here. Growing really, really well. You can see they don't really even have their fall colors yet. But yeah, just looking spectacular. It's they grew like amazing, and they have nice little thorns on the trunks here, if you can see that. Yeah, wicked little trees. Oh, the Douglas firs over here, they can come in for the winter into the greenhouse, and then they'll go down in the basement earlier than the hardier trees. So I do this in phases. I take the tropicals out of the greenhouse first, then I move my tender trees into the greenhouse, the hardy tender ones like the black pines and Douglas firs and my redwoods, and so they'll go into the greenhouse for a while. Then they'll go into the basement, and then, you know, everything else will get moved into the basement for the coldest months of winter, probably January and February, and maybe a week or two in March, and that's about it. Then they go back out on the benches. So yeah, they need that good cool period in the winter. There's my greenhouse that's still under construction back here. I think it's going to have to wait until spring. The Austrian pine's looking pretty cool here. Let me see if I can get around here. There it is. Yeah, it looks pretty nice in the snow, capped up on top, and again, kind of a light dusting down at the trunk here. Yeah. So I'm hoping it fills out in density again this coming spring. I did a lot of thinning. I did a lot of thinning on that tree this spring. You know, restoring all my branch structure, but losing a lot of needle density at the same time. So hopefully all those branches, they'll kind of be exposed to the sun, and hopefully they'll back bud and, you know, grow in all kinds of stuff. Here's my royal oaks. They're doing all right. Still kind of green. They stay green for a long time, these royal oaks. They don't really get their fall colors until basically it starts snowing. And my cedar's doing well out here. Yeah, so that's the backyard, the bonsai area after a good snowfall in November. So the tree guys, they started on the trees yesterday, doing some in the neighborhood here, and I guess they're finishing up today. What a good kitty. What a good kitty cat. Hey, what a good kitty. Hey, Fluffer. It is the next day again. I spent all day yesterday with the stewards of the forest and edible orchard, and we were doing a lot of planning for this Sunday's tree planting. We'll be planting about probably 5 cedars this Sunday, and the weather's not looking too good. It's supposed to kind of be raining, so we'll see what we can do. Yeah, 5 cedars going into the First Nations garden, and yeah, we just had to get all the details put together and get all the supplies there, the trees and everything. So that'll be coming up on this coming Sunday. Today is now Friday, so it's going to be Ficus Friday. I'll have to pick out a tree for Ficus Friday. I did manage to get all the trees in the plant room now. There was a couple outside in the greenhouse still, so I was keeping it heated. So yesterday I got the last 2 plantings in, and that was that Ficus root over temple there, and the carpoke trees in behind it. So the plant room is very full, but I still do manage to have an aisleway through here that I can walk, and yeah, everything's fitting in. I do have to prune a lot of trees back to get them more compact, so they're not all overlapping each other. So the ficus I'm going to pick today is the Natal Ficus, and I repotted that in late August. I think it was like August the 25th or somewhere around there. And I didn't touch the top of the tree, but I did give it a rather severe root pruning. So let's go in and have a look at it. Here it is here, and I'll bring the Canada arm over. And you can see it a little better here. So there it is. It survived the severe root pruning quite nicely. And I was hoping in the video, I said, well, I hope it doesn't skip a beat, that it just cut all those roots off and it just continues growing. And that's pretty well what it did. It kind of drooped a little the first day. And there was maybe 3 or 4 leaves that fell off. They were older leaves anyway. And then it just started to grow again. And you can see on the surface of the soil here, there's roots growing all across the surface of the soil. Maybe over here you can see it. Yeah, so it's done really well. So now, I didn't touch the top of the tree, so now it's time to start the kind of styling and have a good look at it. So I'll pull it off the shelf now, and we'll start working on it. Here's the ficus on the bench now. And sorry, I can't have a plain background because I still have to fit all these trees on the shelf. So I'm hoping after I reduce some of these trees, I can space the pots a little closer together and then maybe finally get this table cleared off. So hopefully you can see a bit. If I rotate it around, you can kind of maybe see the ficus from the other trees in the background. So yeah, it's growing really well, and I've got to do a lot of branch selection today. I didn't really, pick any branches or anything, and I have to pick a style and everything. So this is going to be kind of an exciting video because it'll be the first time I've actually kind of looked at the tree, and I'll make some important styling decisions on how I envision the tree for the future. I started this tree by working on the root system. And that's one of the most important parts of any ficus, is to get those nice radial surface roots, get that nice buttress trunk. So that is underway with the first repotting. And the second most important thing is the trunk line. So I'm going to look at that now and try and determine what exactly I envision for the tree. I've got the camera kind of down at eye level looking at the front of the tree, if this is the front. And it's got a thick trunk that comes up it curves to the right, and it was cut off here. So I've got to continue that trunk line somewhere, and I can either do that with a single leader or, you know, divide the tree into multi, you know, upright trunks to develop a crown at this level. The first thing I'm going to do is clean up the lower trunk. I've got some lower branches here that are just too low. I don't want branching to start down at this level on the trunk. I would rather it at least start up at the height where it's been cut off. So I've also got some roots coming down, some aerial roots here. And I love aerial roots on a ficus, but I don't like them when they don't make sense. When it comes out, curves out, and then comes out into the ground way over here. I would rather them come out and kind of grip the trunk as they come down into the soil, or if they're hanging down vertically from a branch into the soil. I don't want, you know, this root just looks like it comes out and it just kind of grows anywhere. So I'm going to remove that root, these aerial roots, and I'm going to remove these lower branches. So let's do that. I'm going to start with this aerial root. I'm just going to cut it off, because then I can get in at this branch and remove that. So I'm going to start, I'll start with these aerial roots right here. Another one up here, like that. And I'll just snip them off at ground level to get rid of them so we can see the trunk line. And then I'll come up and remove this one like that. There's one hanging down here that I can remove. There's plenty of time in this tree's life to develop more aerial roots. And these trees really like to grow aerial roots. That's why they call them a strangler fig. So that will not be a problem in the future, developing aerial roots. All right, so I'm going to cut this big one off here. So here I go. Like that. And I'll cut it off at ground level here too. So that's gone. And now I've got aerial roots coming out here and branches. So I'll be pruning those back. I'll just rough cut this branch off for now to there. And now I can get in there and bring my light around here. Come in here and cut like that, and I've got to get that aerial root down here like that, and snip those off at soil level now like that. I'm just cleaning these cuts up now, making them as flush as I can get them, so we get a nice smooth trunk line. That'll do, and then I'll come up here and do these ones. Around the back of the tree there's another branch that needs removing, so I'll rotate the tree around. I'll come in and prune that branch off also, right here, like that. And that's kind of cleaned up the trunk line. There's another one here. There's some dead ones that I've got to remove. They probably got shaded out. There's a shot of some figs that are on the tree. Just small ones, and they usually fall off. They don't really mature into anything. So, I think originally this tree was designed to be a cascade. You can see the trunk kind of comes up, and then there's some thick branches left on it here. So I think it's not really a natural style for a Natal Ficus. I'm going to go on the internet now, and I'm going to check, some Natal Ficuses in the wild, and get some styling ideas just to see how they grow in Africa, what they typically look like, just to kind of get it fresh in my mind of, some inspiration and some ideas of what I want this tree to look like. So I'll do that now, and then I'll come back and make my decisions on the styling. I was doing a search for pictures of mature Ficus natalensis trees, and I found quite a few, and most of them had kind of a typical ficus shape, a big dome canopy. But maybe the African style is a little flatter, and they don't have a lot of aerial roots dropping down, especially in the drier regions of Africa. So maybe that's a good style to go with on this tree, is, developing that trunk up and then developing a short, wide-spreading canopy. If I look at the trunk of this tree from the front view, it comes up and then it begins to thicken up as it goes up top here. And I think that's because there's so many heavy branches in that area. I think this tree was originally styled to be a cascade. And yeah, there's some fairly heavy cascading branches that I think will have to be removed here. And that'll help the trunk taper in the future. So that'll be my next step. I'll remove some of these hanging branches. All right, I'll come in underneath here and try and I'll have to cut some of these branches off first. They're kind of in the way of my pruners. So I'll get rid of those. And then I'll just rough cut this branch off to here. And now I can come in and make a nice flush cut underneath this curve here. All right, so here I go. Oh, it's like that. So that's one of those branches removed. There's another small one hanging down here. Another little one here. Like that. And there's another big cascading one here that I believe was, the start of the major cascading style to this tree. So that's going to come off right here. This will be a big cut. I'm going very deep because it had a lot of, it swelled up at the base of the trunk here where this branch was coming out. So I'm going in deep. So here I go with the pruning. Just like that. Now it may be still attached down below her here. Down below, not below her. There. So that's off. And you can see my cut there. I've got some really nice branches developing from the previous major chop, from the trunk chop there. A lot of nice upright branches that'll form a canopy. I'm just looking for other branches that kind of cascade. There's one back behind here that I can remove right here. It's hanging down like that. This one is hanging down, so I will remove that one. Remember, I'm just trying to build that upright canopy structure. So that's kind of got rid of all the cascading branches. I'll just do a little more cleanup of some of these stubs from aerial roots and like that. Now, the next thing, I've got two major branches out the back here that will probably need removing. I've got a nicer branch going upright here. This one's maybe a little too horizontal, and maybe this one is also. Doesn't really kind of fan upwards. It's kind of more flat, which, if I was going to make a very low, flat spreading canopy, they would be good branches, but I'm not sure if I want to make the canopy this low or if I want to bring it up higher. that would be an awful short trunk, and this trunk's just going to thicken up in the future. So if you imagine this trunk maybe 10 years from now, double that thickness, it'll be this big, thick, short trunk, and then branches starting very low. So you may not be able to see that trunk very well underneath the canopy. So maybe, it's a better idea to have the canopy up higher. But I don't know. I mean, you can style the tree anyway, and it'll probably look good either way. If I have a high canopy or a low one. I think I'll cut those branches back for now. So right here, I'll just shorten them, and then I can, decide in future if I want to remove them, see how everything else develops, and take it from there. I'm going to cut them back, and I'm looking for leaf scars. There's one on the bottom here. I don't want this branch to continue growing in this big straight swoop. I want some movement to it. So I'll prune it off just above that leaf scar, allowing a bit of room for dieback. So we'll cut it right there, like that. The other one, again, I've got 2 upright pieces of growth off of it. I've got a leaf scar on the bottom here. I've got a horizontal branch here. I've got another one out this side. I think I'll try taking it off here for now. It's a little long, but it's not too bad. That gives me 3 branches coming off of there. There's a branch crossing on the inside here. I'll take that one off. There's an upright one here I can remove. It's shooting straight up. I'm going to prune this upright one back. I'll prune some of these longer shoots back too, just to make the tree a little more compact. This branch is shooting straight up here. I'll have to shorten that. I think I'll have to prune this upright one off quite short here to here, like that. And I'm worried this branch is quite thick, and I've left 3 branches on it, and I feel that's going to thicken up incredibly fast. I don't know, we'll see. I think I will leave it on for now. There's a bud coming out here I don't want. I'll prune that off. A new shoot. I've done a fair amount of pruning today. So usually what happens, if the tree's vigorous and you do this kind of hard pruning, it explodes the new buds all over, and you'll just get this dense canopy. So that'll probably happen on this tree. I'll spin the tree around and show you what's left of it now. So this, I don't know if this is the front, but it probably will be somewhere around here. So there's the big chop at the top. I took that large branch off the back. There's a big scar here where probably the trunk was initially chopped, and then a new shoot grew out on an angle. So yeah, that's healing over quite nicely. It doesn't look bad at all. That's probably another reason it's thickening up in this area, is that, it had a chop and there's a lot of scar tissue here. So as the top of the tree grows, I think this trunk will smooth out quite nicely. I've got the radial root system started, which will help flare the base of the trunk for the future, and you'll get that nice tapered trunk. Yeah, so back to kind of the front view. It's not the ultimate upright branch structure yet. I pruned it back. We'll get all kinds of new shoots, and then I'll refine this upper branch canopy, the start of the canopy, for the future. This is just the initial pruning, and then every time you go to prune the tree, you let it grow and then prune it back again. You always pick your best branches, and slowly you refine that nice upright flowing canopy, so everything flows beautifully up into the upper structure. And it should create quite a nice looking tree in the far future. I think I've got the Ficus natalensis off to a good start. I think it'll grow really well in the future. That's all for this Ficus Friday today. I'm Nigel Saunders. Thanks for joining me in the Bonsai Zone.